Today we are going to read this passage called Jumping Bodies by ReadWorks. And after you read this passage, you are going to go to Canvas and answer some questions off of Google Forms and look for the text evidence to support each question in the text. Okay, you also have the text with you as well as it's on the screen. This is a story of how I convinced my best friend I could jump bodies. The first time it happened, I was sitting in Miss Perry's 6th grade English class. We were reading a story about a man who had died but still believed he was alive. It was supposed to be a metaphor for something or other. Miss Perry was going on and on about the difference between metaphors and similes and how to look for them in books. But I stopped paying attention the moment I heard her say, "The key to finding a metaphor is..." It wasn't that I was incapable of focusing, but I had noticed a small crack in the window next to my desk. The crack ran the length of the window, and right in the center it splintered into a giant spider's web of shattered glass. I was wondering how it happened. We were on the 4th floor, and it seemed unlikely that any 6th or 7th grader could throw a rock that high and actually hit the window. After all, we weren't known for our athletic abilities at this school. I was thinking about all the various possibilities, a bird or maybe a freak accident, when suddenly I was staring at my classmates with my back against the chalkboard. "I wonder if I left the stove on," I heard a small voice question from within my head. Then I saw a kitchen with a black and white tiled floor. I saw a hand reach out and switch the oven off. I didn't recognize the kitchen, and it certainly wasn't my hand. The fingernails were painted a dark cranberry color, and the veins bulged from underneath thin, brittle skin. "Is everything all right, Miss Perry?" I heard Charlotte ask. She was looking right at me. I felt cold and weak, like my knees might give. Then that was it. I was back in my body. I was sitting at my desk with a pencil in my hand. I was so surprised I almost fell out of my chair. "Sammy," my best friend, nudged me. "Charles, you okay?" he whispered. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Yeah," I muttered. "I'm fine." It didn't happen again for another week. This time I was in gym class. I was jogging around the track talking to Sammy. I didn't particularly want to be running. It was cold outside. A flock of seagulls was overhead, squawking loudly. I watched them soar above us. The flying was something I always wanted to do. Then suddenly, I looked down at a bunch of red uniformed bodies running in a circle, and I was immensely hungry. All I could think about was food and getting more of it. And then, just as suddenly, I was back in my own body. "Sammy," I said excitedly, "what just happened in the past 5 minutes?" "What do you mean?" he asked. "I mean, did I do anything differently? Did I seem normal?" He paused for a moment. "You were just really quiet. I thought you didn't want to talk to me." "Sammy," I said, "I just became a seagull." He looked at me like I was crazy. "Quit it, Charles. I'm sick of hearing you lie." I admit it. In elementary school, I had been known to stretch the truth. I didn't consider it lying, per se, just extreme exaggeration. But the truth was, I had just watched my classmates running around the track like hamsters on a wheel. And 2 weeks ago, I had stared at them out of the eyes of Miss Perry. I placed my hands on his shoulder. "Sammy, I'm serious." He looked at me skeptically. "Then show me," he said. "Turn into a bird." "It doesn't work like that," I said. "I don't know how to control it. It just happens. When I'm bored or something, I don't know why it happens." He snickered. Sure, Charles, whatever." He walked away, and this wasn't going to be easy. The next day I got on the bus and plopped down next to Sammy. "Turned into any birds lately?" he teased gently. Sammy was a sweet kid, and the type of kid who stuck up for other kids and didn't mind if it meant he was going to get bullied. I stared out the window. I wasn't in the mood to explain it to him. There was another crack in the window, and I wondered how it had happened. All the windows around me seemed to be splintering. And then, suddenly I felt it. I knew it was coming. I was going to jump bodies again. This time I was prepared. I grabbed Sammy's hand. "Ready?" I said, into his surprised face. "What are you talking about?" Sammy muttered. He didn't finish his sentence because then we were driving the bus. I could feel Sammy in the bus driver's head with me. I could sense his panic. I watched our hands, that is, the bus driver's hands holding the wheel. This was incredible. And that's when things began to get really weird. We were stuck. Okay, so now you're going to go to Canvas and click on Jumping Bodies, and you're going to answer the questions. Please go back into the text and circle the text evidence for each of the answers and put the number next to it so that I know which is which, like we did with the first text on Magic in the Classroom. Good luck!